Imagine the silence of a tomb, but a tomb that breathes. It is 4 in the morning, and the air inside the scriptorium is so cold your breath forms a ghostly mist. Your fingers are stiff, resembling the wooden talons of a forgotten saint's statue. You are a scribe in the year 1348, and your world is defined by the narrow, flickering circle of light cast by a single tallow candle. It fills the room with the cloying scent of the slaughterhouse, a smell that settles deep within your lungs. Around you, a dozen men sit in identical silence. To speak is to invite the wrath of the presenter. If you need ink or parchment, you use hand signals, rubbing palms for a book, or mimicking the plucking of a string for a ruler. This is the heartbeat of the medieval world. You are the architect of law and the vessel for the Creator's word, but you are also a man standing on a precipice. In this world, the written word is permanent and dangerous. One single letter, misplaced in the heat of summer or the freezing depths of winter, can be the difference between devotion and execution. You are currently working on a legal manuscript for a powerful duke, a man whose temper is as famous as his wealth. If you misspell a village name or omit a word that alters a royal grant, you will not simply be asked to erase it. In this era, the law does not look kindly upon those who alter the truth, even by mistake. The parchment beneath your hand is a marvel of labor. This is vellum, calfskin soaked in lime, scraped with a curved knife, and rubbed with pumice until smooth as silk. A single Bible can require the hides of over 500 animals. You must be careful. The oils from your skin can ruin the surface, so you place a scrap of fabric under your wrist. Beside you sits your inkhorn, filled with gallnut ink made from crushed oak growths and iron sulfate. It is a biting black that eats into the parchment, ensuring words remain for 1,000 years. You dip your quill, a primary feather from a goose, which you've spent an hour sharpening with a razor-sharp penknife. If the nib is too wide, the letters are bloated, too sharp, and it will pierce the vellum, ruining hours of work in a heartbeat. The labor is agonizing. You sit on a backless bench, hunched over a slanted desk for 15 hours a day. Your spine feels crushed, and your eyes ache from the strain of Gothic script in the dim light. Many brothers go blind before 40, moved to the kitchens to rot in the shadows. But it is also a mental prison. You are a human printing press, centuries before such a machine exists. You must replicate the text exactly. Yet, the master copy is often full of errors made by men as tired as you. This creates a terrifying dilemma. If you see a mistake, do you correct it? To do so is pride. To copy it is to perpetuate a lie. There are whispers of scribes accused of heresy for changing a single vowel. Stripped of their robes and burned, the stakes are eternal. As the sun rises, casting bloody crimson streaks through the windows, you reach a difficult passage. You are hungry, your stomach growling in the absolute silence. You see the word Dominus, Lord. Your hand moves to form the D with a sweeping stroke, but your finger cramps. The quill stutters. A small, dark droplet of ink falls from the nib. It hangs for a fraction of a second, a tiny orb of liquid fate, before it crashes onto the pristine vellum. Your heart stops. The ink spreads, soaking into the fibers. You cannot wipe it away. That would only create an ugly smudge. You must wait for it to dry, then use your penknife to microscopically scrape the surface away, layer by layer. Scrape too deep, and you create a hole, an insult to the duke that suggests his power is fragile. Cold sweat breaks out on your forehead. You look around furtively. The presenter is at the far end of the hall. You reach for your knife, breath coming in shallow gasps. You are a master of a craft that requires the patience of a mountain and the nerves of a thief. You remember Brother Jerome, who accidentally wrote the word for gold instead of God. The Inquisitor saw it as a sign of greed. They say Jerome's screams could be heard over the evening bells for 3 nights. You do not want to be Jerome. You focus your entire being on the knife. The scraping sounds like a thunderstorm in the silence. You remove a tiny flake of ink. Then another. The parchment is thinning. You can see the candle flame through the spot. You stop, chest heaving. The spot is pale, a ghost of a failure, but better than a blot. However, the tension remains. You realize the Duke's decree contains an ambiguous phrase regarding the rights of the commoners. In the master copy, the word is consuetudinis, meaning customs. But the ink is faded. It looks almost like concessiones, meaning concessions. A custom is an ancient right. A concession is a gift that can be revoked. The legal status of the peasantry hangs on this one word. If you write customs, you protect the people but anger the Duke. If you write concessions, you please the Duke but condemn hundreds of families to hardship. You realize that you, the invisible scribe, hold the power of life and death. A draft sweeps through the corridor, extinguishing your candle and leaving you in absolute darkness. In this void, your mind races to Titivilus, the demon of the scriptorium, who collects every mangled vowel in a sack to be weighed against your soul at the end of time. But you don't have until the end of time. You have until noon. Your father was a man of the soil. If you betray his memory to save your neck, you condemn your own kind. The light returns as the wick catches. You make your choice. With a heavy hand, you form the letter U for consuetudens. You are no longer just a man. You are a conduit for the survival of your village. But a cold realization washes over you. The Duke's Chancellor is a man of sharp wit, educated in Paris. He will be looking for this exact word. If he sees you chose the path of the people, he will see treason. In 1348, treason is a spectacle of blood. You imagine your own head on a spike, eyes pecked out by crows, a warning to all falsifiers. The morning bells toll like hammer blows. You have 3 hours. Your vision is so blurred, you must close one eye to see the lines. You move to the next paragraph, describing forest boundaries. A mistake here, writing oak instead of stone, could grant the Duke the king's hunting grounds, drawing the ire of the crown itself. You are walking a tightrope between warring giants. Suddenly, you hear horses in the courtyard. The clatter of hooves is the sound of judgment. The Chancellor is early. The door creaks open. A man enters smelling of expensive musk and cold iron. He walks directly to your desk, his shadow falling over your work like a shroud. You keep your head bowed. He reaches out with a gloved hand and turns the page, the vellum rasping like a dying breath. He is silent. You feel the heat of his breath on your neck. He is searching. His finger stops on the very line where you struggled with the ink blot. He traces the reconstructed letters. The Chancellor's voice is like tearing parchment. He asks if the master copy was difficult to read, noting the ink is thinner here. You swallow hard, whispering that the winter cold makes the ink flow poorly. You claim you have been faithful to every letter. He laughs, a short, mirthless bark. Intention is a dangerous word for a scribe, he says. He tells you that you are merely the hand of the Duke, and if a hand moves on its own, it must be severed to prevent the rot from spreading. He gathers the manuscript in oiled silk. At the threshold, he pauses. He mentions a rumour that your brother leads the village council. A thin, cruel smile crosses his face. It would be a tragedy if a brother's hand were to sign a brother's death warrant through a simple slip of the pen. The door slams shut. The other scribes do not look at you. They are afraid your misfortune is contagious. As the hours crawl toward evening, you sit in the gloom. You wait for the sound of boots, for the guards to bind your hands. You realize that the world of kings and popes is built on this fragile foundation of animal skin and oak gall ink. You are the invisible spine of history, yet as disposable as a broken quill. You look at your right hand, stained black with permanent ink, the mark of your trade, and now the mark of your doom. The monastery's front gate thumps open. A shout rings out. The Chancellor has finished his reading. You close your eyes and offer one final prayer, not for your life, but for the word. You pray that the ink holds against the damp of the dungeons. You pray that long after your body is in a nameless grave, the word customs remains. A silent, stubborn testament that for one brief moment a man with a pen was more powerful than a man with a sword. The door bursts open, and the light of torches spills in, blinding you. Your time is over. The story is written.